Welcome students. Today let us begin with the topic reproduction in graphites. This topic is for MSc Sem 1 students and is covering the second paper. Now, before coming to the reproduction in graphites, let us revise our previous lecture, the characteristics of braphites. The braphites are a group of plants which are placed intermediate between the thallophytes and the pteridophytes. They are the amphibians of the plant kingdom. The braphites include 960 genera and 24,000 species. The term Braphyta has been derived from a Greek word bryon, moss, and phyton, plants. So, moss-like plants are called as braphites, and the science which deals with the study of braphites is called as bryology. This group of plants are divided into three classes: the Hepaticopsida, commonly known as liverworts, the Anthocerotopsida, known as hornworts, and mosses, which belong to the Rhipsida. Lack of vascular tissues. This group of plants completely lack conducting tissues in the form of xylem and phloem. There are no lignified tissues. They have rhizoids, and rhizoids may be unicellular or multicellular, and they perform the similar function of absorption and fixation, which are performed by the roots of the higher plants, but they are analogous to each other. Analogous meaning the rhizoids are born on the gametophyte plant, and the roots are born, which are characteristics of the higher plants, are born on the sporophyte plant. The gametophytic generation is dominant in braphites, and the braphites belong to the phylum Braphyta, Hepatophyta, and Anthocerophyta. Reproduction in braphites. As I have been stressing that water is necessary for fertilization. It takes place during the rainy season. Reproduction by vegetative methods is the common mode of reproduction, and there is complete absence of mitospores. Mitospores, which are a common feature in the group thallophytes, is completely absent here, and reproduction by meiospores is characteristic feature of this group of plants. Sexual production is invariably oogamous. In the last lecture, I had explained what is the sexual reproduction, range of sexual reproduction. It ranges from isogamy, meaning fusion of similar gametes, then anisogamy, fusion of dissimilar gametes, and the highest form is the oogamous, where one gamete is non-motile and the other gamete is motile. The sex organs are always multicellular and protected by a jacket of sterile vegetative cells. It takes place by male and female reproductive sex organs, namely the antheridium and the archegonium. We will be taking sexual reproduction in our next lecture. Now, before beginning with the vegetative reproduction, let us just have a look at the graphic life cycle of the braphites. The main generation is the gametophyte, and it undergoes sexual production and vegetative reproduction. The gametophyte plant, when it matures, gives rise to the sex organs, the male and female sex organs, namely the antheridium and the archegonium. The antheridium produces the antherozoids, and the archegonium produces the egg. The egg and the antherozoids fuse to form a structure called the zygote. Now, the process of syngamy, of fertilization, marks the end of the gametophytic generation, and the zygote begins the sporophytic generation of the bryophytes, which is the diploid one. The zygote gives rise to the embryo, and the embryo gives rise to the sporogonium. The sporophyte in bryophytes is called as sporogonium, and it is differentiated into foot, seta, and capsule. The capsule bears the spore mother cells, and the spore mother cells undergo meiosis and gives rise to the spores. The formation of spores bring an end to the sporophytic generation, and the gametophytic generation starts, and the spores may germinate directly to form the new thallus of the bryophyte, or it may undergo a juvenile stage, the protonema, and then gives rise to the new bryophyte plant. Vegetative reproduction. The vegetative reproduction takes place when the conditions are favorable, when the moisture content is high in the atmosphere, mainly during the rainy seasons, and these are the methods by which the plants may undergo vegetative reproduction. Fragmentation. In fragmentation, the cells in the posterior portions of the branched thalli die of old age and eventually disorganize. This results in the separation of young thallus lobes. These are called as fragments. Each detached lobe or fragment, by apical growth and dichotomy, gives rise to a new plant. Students, fragmentation is a very efficient method of propagation when the environmental conditions are favorable for growth. It leads to the increase in the number of plants in a locality. Gamete formation. Many species of liverworts produce green multicellular asexual buds called the gamete. They are produced in large numbers. Being small and sufficiently buoyant, they are easily carried when detached by water and wind currents to new habitats where each grows into a new individual immediately. The gametes thus serve to decimate the species to new localities, whereas fragmentation, the number of plants increase within the same locality. Adventitious branches. Vegetative propagation also takes place by the formation of adventitious branches. Adventitious branches arise from the ventral surface of the thallus. They become separated by death and decay of the tissue connecting the branch with the parent plant. The detached adventitious branch then grows into a new plant. Examples are Riccia fluitans, Targunia, and Ribaulia. Bulbils. Bulbils are specialized buds, and they are formed in some species, and they also serve as means of vegetative propagation. Protonema. In mosses, the vegetative propagation may also take place by the spores. The spores gives rise to a much branched protonema on which several new gametophores are developed by primary protonema and by secondary protonema. This type of reproduction takes place in Funaria. In Funaria, the spores germinate to form filamentous structures. The filamentous structures give rise to the primary protonema, which may break into small pieces. Each of these is capable of forming a new protonema. The protonema then bears the buds, and each bud develops into a new plant. By secondary protonema. though it is morphologically similar to the primary protonema, but secondary protonema is not produced by germination of spores. In secondary protonema, buds are also produced, and each bud develops to form the adult plant. Rolling. Rolling of the thallus into a tubular structure is a common method of reproduction in the thalloid forms. The growing point remains protected in the center of the tubular structure. When the structure unrolls, or when the thallus unrolls on the approach of favorable conditions, several branches get separated to form independent plants. Tubers. Tubers are formed in different species in different positions and may be sessile or stalked. A tuber is a swollen, almost spherical body having stored food material. A growing point and is protected by a corky rind, means corky covering, and rhizodal outgrowths. These tubers are formed on the plants towards the end of the growing season. They remain buried in the substratum, and on the approach of the next growing period, they germinate to form new plants. So, tubers and persistent apices. What happens in persistent apices? The growing apical portions of the thallus lobes with a certain amount of thallus tissue becomes thickened. These thickened apices persist. The rest of the plant dies away. At the beginning of the rainy season, the dormant species resume growth, resulting into a rosette of new plants. Examples are Cythodium. So, tubers and persistent apices. They are chief means of pollination in liverworts. Whenever the unfavorable conditions arise, the whole thallus dies away, but some of the structures like tubers or the apices, they get buried under the soil and survive over the unfavorable conditions, and with the return of the favorable conditions, they germinate to form the new plant. Regeneration. The liverworts possess an amazing power of regeneration. Here, every living cell of a liverwort thallus is capable of regenerating the entire plant. Even the isolated scales and rhizoids can also grow into a new plant. Viability of protoplasm. The protoplasm in some species, particularly of the growing points, can withstand adverse weather conditions, and when moisture is available, it regains its activity and grows into a new plant. So, these are the common methods of vegetative reproduction in bryophytes. Now, this figure is showing the vegetative reproduction by fragmentation. आप देख रहे हैं कि ये जो थैलस है, डाइकोटोमस की ब्रांच थैलस है मार्केंशिया का, और इसका जो पोस्टीरियर पोर्शन है, जैसे जैसे ग्रो होता है तो जो पोस्टीरियर पोर्शन वो धीरे धीरे डिके होने लगता है, और जब ये डिके होकर मर जाता है और एक डाइकोटोमी पर ये पहुंचता है, तो ये दो फ्रैगमेंट्स अलग हो जाते हैं और इनके एपिकल सेल जो कि एपिकल नॉच में रहते हैं, दे ग्रो एंड डिवाइड इनटू अ न्यू प्लांट. तो एक थैलस जो है ये दो नए प्लांट्स बनाता है. नाउ these are the various modes of reproduction. A, B, C and D is the fragmentation in Rixia, where the decayed portion gives rise dies and the two fragments A and B get separated, and each fragment then produces a new thallus. E and F shows the vegetative reproduction by tubers, which I said they are thickened buds formed at the apex, and during the unfavorable conditions they get buried into the soil, and though the rest of the thallus dies, with the advent of the favorable conditions, the tubers they again grow and germinate into a new plant. Now this is the adventitious branches in Rhexia, and here adventitious branches on the ventral surface of the thallus gets detached from the main plant, and they are capable of producing a new plant. Now these figures, they are the various modes of reproduction. They are depicting the various modes of reproduction in bracteoles. A and B and C, they are fragmentation. D is the reproduction by tubers. E is the reproduction by gamma formation, and N figure shows the gamma, which are circular. They are cluster of gamma at the tip of a thallus lobe. This is in Medgerinia. I shows the two cell gamma which may be produced within any cell of the thallus in Riccardia. M is the discoid gamma, N is the cluster of gamma, L shows the 3 or 4 gamma in the axil of leaves in Cubia. O is the adventitious branches in Rhexia, and the P figure shows the vegetative reproduction by Protonema in Funaria. So students, this is all about the vegetative propagation or reproduction in bryophytes, and it forms an important topic. Invariably, 1 or 2 questions do come from this topic, and in our subsequent lecture we will be taking with the sexual reproduction of bryophytes. Thank you.